rest. Okay. Okay. So deck history. Yeah. So that looks right. That looks right. Mm. Yeah, that defaults them to public. That should, or no, does that default them to package private? To explicitly, um, I mean, all that is an exception handler. That's what it does. Um, yes, it would be a public class. Yeah, yeah, they're both publics. Yeah, and yeah, it's a public class, so it should it should be accessible. Okay, yeah. Um, See, that's the thing. Repositories, in this case, are implementing a CRUD repository, which is actually a Java-based thing. Um, but yes, both of those methods you see there on deck repository are public. So long, yeah. Now those you won't necessarily find in CRUD repository. Spring seems. Oh, okay, okay, yeah. Yeah, and so that's the same thing for deck history repository too. In fact, that has now changed. Last night I more or less got the histogram working. Um, so we now have that too, and it will implement two methods, somewhat similar to deck history to deck. So actually, I should make a doing research how Spring works and which solution is easier to implement on our code base. Yeah, yeah, just keep looking into that. I'm still working on the IoT side and seeing if we have something there too. Yeah. rather than opening it up on the website, make something. Yeah, because it's an interface basically just for us. Unless we want it to be more than that. Unless we want, like, say the owner of the parking deck to. Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. No, no. In the long run, I mean, we do have the benefit of having total access to our system because we own the system. You know, so the maybe the admin can be a smaller role overall. Maybe it's just we limit it down to, like, they can only edit decks that they own, right? Each admin has decks that they explicitly can edit, which does limit what you can do. We have to do a lot of permission scouting. Fair point. Fair point. Yeah, roles, all sorts of fun stuff, which is a whole different aspect of engineering. No, no, we're talking about, like, having my idea of having, like, you know, say a owner of a series of decks, right? They have permissions to edit their own decks, but only their own deck. We need to add logic and storage and ways of knowing, okay, what permissions does this person have and what does that mean? Yeah, yeah. It's, so you're talking about an entirely different app that has no web interaction that does that editing instead. Instead. Yeah. 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 Yeah, no, I'm thinking maybe in the long run, the best idea would to have two discrete systems, right? This system is solely for the web app part, and then you have a separate entire program that interacts with doing the edits. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Right. Mhm. Let me double check that. It is exception. Now this it looks like a string. If it's anything, I mean, based on the code itself, it looks like it returns string. Super refers to the superclass, which is, and the superclass in this case, or the parent class, is the runtime exception. So runtime exception must have a string out, probably a two-string method that does that, from what it looks like. No. Yes. So that'll be its return type string. It's not terribly clear. I copied and pasted that code. That was from an example, a useful example, but okay. Okay. Be warned, you're gonna have to add a few more because that doesn't have the histogram logic yet in it. So I yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. I'm given how he is, he yeah, and he does this on purpose too. This is to put intention. Uh, I I kind of expect we'll have a little more time than he's letting on. I'm not. I'm gonna assume that we don't. He yeah. He wants to put, and he wants to put some pressure on us. He wants to give us a deadline that's challenging, right? Because that's what he did in computer org. I mean, granted, those projects weren't nearly as bad, but yeah, 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 yep. Curves everything up. Helps a lot. Helps a whole lot. Spring Boot admin. Let's see. Yeah, this would be a. So is this a completely discrete, separate, like backend client? Okay, so this would sit entirely separate, which I kind of like, keeping it completely different. By the way, as far as servers go, I have an Amazon EC2 instance with Ubuntu. I managed to pull the project from GitHub and build it with Maven. It's like a single line. It's ridiculously easy to build. Um, so that bit is more or less covered. I need to make sure I have the security set up right, and also I need to figure out how to make something a little more user friendly as far as a access. That's a nice to have though, because you can still, because yes, it does have a DNS. It is an ugly looking DNS. Here, I can, yeah, yeah. Here's our current. That is what it is. That's its DNS name. Command line interface. Yeah. Yeah. Linux UI through shell stuff. I know the very basics of working through the shell, but yeah. It's not running. Do you want me to fire it? I can fire it. It's a older implementation, but what? See. See if I can get it to fire. Now this shouldn't have anything on it, but yep, there it is running. Initialization. Now I want to make sure I have these ports correct too. Let's you know what? Let me check something real quick. Because if that's that, I wonder if it's gonna make me do this. Yep. Make sure to specify 8080 as your port. So colon. And right now it doesn't have anything. It's just a blank. In fact, this is an older one with no data. This is actually connected to the AWS database too. So you should just see two brackets. In fact, maybe I can make it do something a little more fun. Let's give it a, okay. List add. Let's see, how did I set up the, it's our current GitHub repo. That's not current. That, well, or is it? That was the repo as it was like last time I talked to you. So yes, it is current. It doesn't have the updated changes I've made, so it's going to need a few bits of tweaks to really do what I need it to do. But yes, that is more or less the current. It just doesn't have the logic for the histogram, which my current version does. I need to push that. Oh, no, not login. Histogram. Logic. No, you're good. You're good. Let's see. Is that right? I guess there's one way to find out. Nope. Okay. Name, capacity. That's why. Okay. If you update that page, it should now punch out at least one deck that I hastily tossed in there. So yes, it does work. We can push and post to it. I obviously in production the ports will have to be different. By default, you wanted to use the 80 port, and I wonder how do you, because I know websites use AWS for their hosting. There's got to be a way to change that thing to to a something a bit prettier. And I wonder how that works because you'd have to buy a domain name too, right? You'd have to purchase something. I think. I don't suppose they just let you have one. But it does work. It does function. So long as you use the right port, it will punch out what you need. So there we go. That's a working bit of instance. Park.rip. Hmm. Huh. That's post-COVID URL. Oh no. Oh god. Isn't that already taken? I could have sworn that was already taken. Dependent, so rip me. Oh, the IRS is very functional. Oh. All right, I think I can see how to change the port thing. But what about the Cala? Oh shit. Yeah. Seed. uh, okay, so how to get into the server itself. So, um, yeah, you're gonna need a private key to do it. So, um, yeah. 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 So SSH is going to be mad at you with this because you're basically handing it a file which is the key. So you're going to, if you're on Linux, you're going to have to chmod it to make it to where only you have access. With Windows, it's a tad more complicated, but I think I have somewhere in my horrible list of tabs um, a solution on how to restrict that to just you. So SSH doesn't like it if SSH will basically yell at you if you try to use a key file and it's basically has unrestricted access. So you need to limit the access privileges to the file to just your user. Either one. Windows will be mad too. Yes. No, I actually used Windows for it. Yeah, I actually had to modify the file privileges for Windows because every time I tried to SSH, it's like, nope, won't do that. No, I'm using PowerShell. Oh, yeah, that's the way to do it. Oh, that's wow, look at that. So download that file that I just sent you. Um, it's in Slack, I think. And yeah, put that somewhere. And it'll need when you SSH, it'll need the pathing to that file too. So yeah. And if you don't want to use PuTTY, PowerShell, or you can use PowerShell, you can use command line, anything that has SSH really. Um, yeah. Yeah, if you, so yeah, your call there. There's plenty with that. So yeah, I think what's the command look like? Actually, let's get out of this then. So it's like SSH-I, and then you hand it the file path, and then it's the user's Ubuntu at, and then that long old um, DNS that we use to access the website. So And once you have it set up, it is a single click away. No passwords, no nothing. Let's see. Oh, this looks way more complicated than I would do it. Oh wait, actually the bottom line, just SSH dash I path the key Ubuntu at yeah, but PowerShell's on Windows 10, like by default. Yeah. So if you have it might I think it's on Windows 8 too. Could have sworn it was. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, uh, yeah, if you have power, it like it's basically it acts like Bash. PowerShell acts like Bash basically. Which yeah, patently not true, and basically almost every in existence has SSH of some kind. Mm. But Ubuntu would have, but Ubuntu would have SSH free installed. That's that is that is wonky. Hold on, like Amazon has one that is way simpler. Let me see if I can find that. Yeah, that's a tad sketch. That's here. Here, this is the one I used. It's from Amazon directly. PowerShell will work identical. Yeah, that's why I say PowerShell because again, it's assuming that you're using Bash, which if you have PowerShell, it basically responds to everything Bash. In fact, it's so beautiful. You can, I mean, everything. LS works, all of it for the most part. It's not perfect, but it's almost. Alternatively, if you have the Ubuntu or Linux subsystem for Windows and have like Ubuntu installed, you can SSH through that too. Granted, getting the key onto that subsystem is a tad trickier. Um, so yeah, but that's why I use this. So this is oh well, that might be part of the reason. Yeah, yeah, you'd have to install OpenSSH instead. Yeah, looks got it. Yeah. Okay, so that might be telling me why you would need to install that. Okay. All right then. Later.
With the find in other countries can still be bought in China. So it isn't as if there's a glaring need for a third source of CPUs. And it also appears that the joint venture might be inactive by this point anyway. So not only has AMD not given the joint venture any Zen designs past the first generation, the Chinese chipmaker is now on the US government's entity list, meaning that the joint venture can't do business with US companies, sell to any other entity on the list, or receive technology from American firms. So there are a number of these chips out in the wild currently, but it is unlikely that they're making any more. Of course, with AMD righting itself with the success of Ryzen and EPYC, this isn't exactly a huge loss for them, so I wouldn't anticipate tons of x86 chips from other companies anytime soon. But even though the chips are only a few years old, they're already a collector's item if you can somehow find a way to get your hands on one. Just don't expect it to make your PC any faster. It's affordable to fix or upgrade your consoles with iFixit's parts and tools, even the Nintendo Switch. They've got all the parts you need to replace and make it run like new. Fix that drift on your Joy-Con, install a new battery, even replace your fans. Just go to ifixit.com/techquickie to get everything you need to keep fixing your Nintendo Switch and other game consoles, because you just rage quit every time and throw it at the ground. I mean, you could stop doing that. You could save money that way too. I always say, why not both? So thanks for watching, guys. Like, dislike, check out our other videos. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any future Fastest Possibles. Maybe leave us a comment. What would you do with one of these Chinese CPUs? Make like a sweet chain? Just be like, yo, like geek swag.